You got to find joy in the little things or whatnot. And so that thing just like came into my head. When I thought of it, I just put on a smile. I'm like, I felt grateful right then and there.
And I think that was the biggest switch for me is, yes, I want to be the best. I want to be ahead. But the only true person I need to be is the person I was yesterday.
If you want to do something, you have to get yourself in check first. If you want to do something for yourself, you have to see it, you have to think it, and then you have to like speak it.
A rich man's world. A rich man's world. Beautiful land, but you are a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but
Welcome you guys to the Level Up Lounge podcast. Here we have another episode, and we have another guest. And this guest is a very special man in my life that I grew up with for a while now. And I've been so impressed and so grateful to have a man like you on my side of my team growing up. And I admire and I'm proud of you for everything you've done. I've seen what you've done and grown as a man in general. I'm proud of you, bro. So without further ado, and all the credits due to this man right here. So our second podcast guest is Mr. Jerry Arispe.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me, George. It's a blessing when you told me that I was gonna be the second the second guest here. But no, it truly did mean a lot when you told me that you wanted me on the pod. It like really lit my world up when you told me.
I'm glad to hear, bro.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, and I brought you here for a reason because I know for a fact you have some value into your journey personally. For our listeners to hear your story and to also implement some of the things that you've learned in your life to implement in their own journey, because we all have our own journeys, and that's the whole point of the Level Up Lounge podcast, is to gather everyone's stories and for you guys, the audience, the listeners, to take things out of the podcast and apply it to your life. So I think we're going to stick to the same format as we did with the previous podcast, which is 2 questions, one to start it and one to end it.
Okay.
And the first question is going to be a pretty thought-provoking question, of course. So it's going to open the door up to many more conversations, and we'll get into it. But yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, awesome. So here's a question for you. If you could keep one skill that you learned so far, what would it be?
That's kind of hard to answer because, there's many skills you need to go throughout life. But one skill, and I think this just defines the person I am, is the hardworking ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were to have a hardworking ethic, you can get through basically anything if you put your mind to it. I feel like a lot of people feel bad for themselves nowadays, like, play themselves as a victim. Just get that out of your head and just grind no matter what. You're gonna be successful no matter what. There's no telling your potential. There's no telling like how far you can go working hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how I've always been brought up. Shout out Coach Menchaca. Since I was a young kid, that's all I heard is like, you work hard and good things will happen. And I'm like a true testament to that. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that.
I love that. And you've heard it many times that I've told you that when I think of you, I think of the heart of a lion. Yes, because
sir, yeah.
You are one of the most hardworking men I know in my life.
Thank you, man.
And you're not afraid to get dirty.
Oh, no. I used to get very dirty back in the day. Yeah. And we'll get to that.
Well, this is kind of skipping ahead, but it just popped in my head right now. But I remember one time we weren't FaceTiming, but you were doing a job out there and it was raining. And it was it was supposed to be like a hard moment, but you made it into a happy moment.
Yes.
Because you were doing a very hard job. I don't know how late it was, and it was...
It wasn't that it was late. So before Stripe On, I was a roadside assistance mechanic, which is my dad's business. And so he gave me a little part of his business. He gave me a truck, and so I was doing my own side work, my own gigs. And so what happened was one time I got called out to a roadside service very far away, and on the way over there, it started raining, and it was pouring. And in Laredo, it never rains.
Yeah.
And this day, it so happened to rain. And so it was pouring, and this job I had to do wasn't a job that I usually do, so it was pretty hard. And I was underneath the truck, and I had like it was basically a freaking river. I was laying on the side of the road in pavement. There's a stream of water running down, and literally half of my body was submerged in water. My ears were underneath water, and I'm working on this truck. And all at the same time, I have oil dripping on my face, you know, and being a mechanic, it's a dirty job. I'm used to it, but I had oil dripping on my face. I got like all this dirt on me and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, shit, what am I doing with my life right now? You know, I thought about, I think it was like Mike Tyson. I saw a video of Mike Tyson, like a little clip of him saying, it was with him and Joe Rogan. He said something about, you know, you got to find joy in the little things or whatnot. And so that thing just like came into my head. When I thought of it, I just put on a smile. I'm like, I felt grateful right then and there. And it just changed my whole perspective. I'm like, you know what? I'm lucky that I have like this opportunity to even have work or to even be doing this kind of stuff, you know? And so that just changed like my whole perception of that.
That was awesome. I mean, I think everyone can learn a little lesson in that story you just shared, where in tough times, you remind yourself that you are given this opportunity to do a job like that, even though I didn't know you were underwater.
I was underwater. Like half of my body, I'm laying, and half of my body is just underneath water. My ears were underwater, and I had to get it done. Like, you know, like, gotta pay the bills somehow, you know? So
Yeah,
I had to get
100%.
it done. And that just goes back to hard work. I always had the hard work. Being a mechanic, I never really liked it. I truly didn't like it. But I did it because it was the thing that I was doing then. Yeah, I was very angry at that time. And then boom, just thought of something. And it's always all about perspective.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
So you just switch the perspective around, and it literally from being angry to being grateful in a matter of seconds.
It's powerful.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was like beautiful. I started smiling when I was underneath that water. I was like laughing and smiling and like being grateful to have work at least, you know?
That's awesome. And that truly just shows the power of gratitude and the power of just switching the perspective. And I have a kind of similar story. I wasn't underwater, but I was in water because it was like raining.
Okay.
But when I moved out to Austin my first time, I was working as a server, which I never thought I would be a server in my life. But I had the 6 a.m. shift to 2 p.m., but I would always have to open the restaurant. So I would be out there putting the chairs out, and there's an outdoor area as well. In that process, it was pouring. And I was like, do I even go out there? Like, I don't think anybody's going to eat out there because it's going to be raining the whole day.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you still have to go out there. I had no extra change of clothes or anything like that. My socks were wet, everything like that, the whole process.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved it because it's those moments that make the grind better. This is your story. This is where you're at right now. And I said in this previous podcast with Carlo, you're going to be successful anyways, you know, with the work that you put in. So enjoy the moments where it's difficult and hard because you only get those hardships once in life.
Of course.
Right? And when you're ramping up your business, when you're ramping up your venture, whatever you're trying to do, you're only going to go through that hard moment once.
You're going to miss it.
You're going to miss it. Yeah. And you're going to love that. You're going to love that. Like whenever you're quote unquote successful, you're going to look back on it and be like, gosh, I remember that time where I was at underwater, submerged. Yeah. And you're going to laugh about it. Yeah. And that's the beauty of just doing hard things, and the hard work and everything comes around it.
I feel like as a human, you have to have like constant stress, not necessarily like stress, but like constant problems to like be solving every day. Because if not, then like what are you doing? You know, like you have to be.
I love that.
Like that's just the way I function. I have to solve problems every day in my life. Because if not, I feel not enough. Like I didn't do enough today. You know, and that's how I kind of like live my life. Like I'm always just like, what's the next step? What's the next step? I love being productive. That's the way I go throughout my life, and so far it's been going pretty well.
There's definitely truth to that. Like there's so much truth to that, and I follow the same philosophy. There is, I don't know who said it, but it's in Stoicism, that type of philosophy. Basically, he said, we need stress in order to grow the capacity of, who we're supposed to be, and how you said earlier, fulfill your potential. If you have no stress in your life, then you're comfortable. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And I don't like being comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm chasing comfortableness.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like once I reach to that level, like I'm still gonna find myself trying to do more and more. To me, that's the meaning of life. Like just trying to do as much as you can, all while being like a great person. And I've been getting to that lately, is trying to be a better person overall to people. Recently, I've been living my life giving more than I take. I love to give to the needy. Every time I get a chance and I have like extra cash or whatever, I love just to give out, and it just makes me feel better as a person.
When you give more than you take, I feel like the higher you go in growth and success, like, your version of success, it's more giving. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I think that's the whole point. What's so good of having everything when you can't share it with others? Right?
I love that.
What's the point of being up here in successfulness when my brothers are down here? And it comes back to like that J. Cole song, like, what good is the bread if my guys are broke? What good is first class? Whenever I make it, I'm gonna make sure all my boys are up there with me. It's gonna be lonely up there. They say it's lonely at the top, but I don't want to be alone. I want to be there with my boys. So, and that's my whole thing. I truly love the person I became recently, being more thoughtful to others, and especially to the needy, because you can't be judging those people. You don't know their story. You don't know how they got there. It's impossible for the human brain not to judge, but we have to try our best to just give them something,
100%, to be, to give them a head start, something, or some piece of knowledge. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm proud of you that, again, I'm very proud of you for becoming the man you are today. The man you are today is not the man I knew 2 years ago.
Oh,
yeah.
You guys grew up with me. You guys know the kind of guy I was. And I'm not really proud of that person, but
it's part of your journey, though.
Exactly.
That's growth.
Like, I had to go through that to get to where I'm at right now. And right now, I'm not 100% satisfied with who I am. You shouldn't be. You should never be satisfied. That's how you have to live your life if you want to be something. You should never be satisfied with anything. And I'm still not satisfied, but I'm very far along with personal development, the way I think, the way I treat others, and you guys spoke about it on the last pod about the death of the ego. And you guys know how big my ego was back in the day. And I'm so happy. Honestly, I give a lot of credit to you guys, to you, to Sammy, to all my friends. You guys taught me to kill the ego.
To be vulnerable.
To be vulnerable, yeah. You gotta, a powerful man has to be vulnerable sometimes too.
100%. I think that's probably the biggest thing I learned throughout my personal development journey. I'm not afraid to tell my story.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to tell my story. I mean, I have it pinned on top of my Instagram post that the reason I do what I do is because I was in a negative place before. And the reason I do that is to show that I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to paint a picture of I'm perfect. I'm trying to just say I'm human. You're human. I experienced negative thoughts. I, thank God, got myself out of it and just got addicted to self-development.
Yeah.
And after I just started learning, I started reading books, 2 books a month. I've grabbing all that knowledge, podcasts, everything I put my hands on. I was like, damn, everyone needs to know about this.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to grow. And everyone has their own journey, their own experiences. So, of course, it's going to be a little different for everyone. But I just took that idea of growth and running with it. And now this is why we're here.
Yeah.
That one idea. And isn't it awesome to see idea come into reality?
It's the most beautiful thing.
It is.
It's the most beautiful. I've had many ideas throughout my life, business-wise, because I knew growing up, that's what I wanted to do, is to be my own boss, to have my own business. I always knew I didn't want to have a regular job. And so I had many business ideas. Many of them failed. Many of them were just, fantasies or whatever. In the case of my current business, it's so beautiful seeing where I was in the very beginning to where I'm at now. And I'm very fortunate, grateful to be where I'm at now. and we're barely getting started. You know, there's a lot more to get done.
Now we're on that topic. Let's bring on Stripe on, baby.
Stripe on.
Stripe on, dude. Correct me if I'm wrong. 9 months ago was when you started the business.
It's like about 10 now. Yeah,
10.
10 months.
You posted a picture, and we'll put it right here, of you, and you're making the logo for Stripe on what is it, Canva?
No, it wasn't Canva. It was on Google Slides.
Google Slides.
Yeah,
okay.
Google Slides. I
A
didn't
little
even
school
know
project. Yes, sir.
I didn't even know what Canva was back then.
Okay.
And dude, it all started with an idea. And I had, like I said, I had so many ideas. I had an idea of like a poker room, trash disposal, pressure washing. Before striping, it was supposed to be pressure washing, surface cleaning, which goes hand in hand with my field. The way I started Stripe on was all with an idea. And it was with my girlfriend, Emma. We were out eating dinner and we were having a conversation about entrepreneurship. We were talking about college and all this kind of stuff. And I'm a big believer that you don't really need college nowadays. You know, you do in some fields, for other things you don't. And so I was telling her that, like, you don't need this. You just need to be a hustler, man. You just need to grind. And because that's, like I said, that's my thing, is grinding, working hard. And so we were out eating dinner and I was giving her examples. I was like, I can make a business of cleaning this concrete, this sidewalk. I can make a business of painting these lines. And when I said it, I was like, hold up, like, that's actually a good idea. And from there, like, it just started with an idea. It just started with me saying it. And I went back home, watched a few clips on YouTube, and I was like, this is perfect. It's easy. It's great money. It looks like fun. And one thing about me is, like, I'm OCD kind of. Like, I find satisfaction in, like, the befores and afters. You know, I like to be, like, clean and organized, whatever. And so that, like, it just brings me, it cures that little, what's that?
Little tick. Yeah.
That tick that I have. And so, and the thing about my profession is, like, you have to be perfect, because if you mess up a little bit, you're going to see every little inconsistency, every little mess up that you have, mistakes. It's like perfect. You know, I never knew I was going to be a striper growing up. Like, I wasn't in high school like, yeah, I'm going to own a striping business. No, it was just a thought. And then you just put it into action and you just grind.
I love that story. I didn't know that story. You never told me how Strap-On came of an idea. The idea was born. A thing that I loved, and we were talking about this the other day with Rob, about when you had Strap-On as idea. I think your idea was already born, but now you did your research on YouTube, and then you're gonna start planning. And you had a sheet of paper, and I remember just hearing your voice, because it was just like a conference call with the boys, and you were just telling yourself, like, you were telling us, but you're actually talking to yourself. Like, I need to lock in, like, enough of these distractions. I need to follow my word and do what I'm gonna do and say. And I remember that. And I remember there was, like, a fire in your ass. Like, I need change. I need to change right now.
Yeah.
The urgency was high. The intensity was high in the words you spoke. And now Stripe-On is 5 figures in 9 months.
Yeah, it is crazy, because a lot of new businesses, when they first come up, they don't see revenue for, like, the first year at least, or the first 2 years. Like, it really took off. And I'm so grateful it did. And it's funny how you mentioned the way I was describing, I need change, I need this and that.
Urgency.
So, that urgency, right? So that photo I posted of me on the computer when it first was, like, when I was trying to edit the logo, that was a zoomed in picture. My mom sent me another photo, and it was a zoomed out photo. Right next to me was my mirror, and on my mirror I had little sticky notes. And at that time I was doing 75 hard. So, and I saw the sticky notes, I was like, holy crap. I feel like if it wasn't for that sobriety that I was going through, I probably wouldn't have had that, like, urgency or to do something for myself. Because I was locked in. I started 75 hard because I felt like I was getting nowhere. You know how I was talking about, I'm a problem solver. And at that time, I was in college. I was doing what everybody else was doing, partying, drinking, smoking, whatever. And that was just a big distraction. Waking up the next day, like, you just feel complete loser, at least for me. Right. And I knew I needed change. I knew I had, like, a little problem with that. It wasn't, like, a big problem. So I decided to do the 75 hard. When you're sober, it's just you and your mind, right? And so I feel like if it wasn't for that, maybe Stripe On wouldn't have been a thing. Since I was sober, I needed to find something to do for myself. And I think I was on day 60 when that photo was taken. So I think
That's crazy.
that has to do a lot with it. Because if you're not doing that, I feel like you're just looking forward to the weekend. That's how I was. Just work Monday through Friday and then look forward for Saturday to get messed up at the bar, and then just it was like a big dark cycle. So I started 75 hard, and so I knew I wanted to do something for myself. And if it wasn't for the 75 hard, if you want to do something, you have to get yourself in check first. You can't just start something out of thin air. Creating a business, doing something, not just gonna come out of nowhere, and it's not gonna be easy, right? Like, and so I think that's why, like, my thing was kind of accidental. I wanted to do 75 hard, and I did want to do something for myself, and so, but first I had to check myself. I had to be in the right mind space and get away from all that other stuff first, and then once you're alone and you're doing something for yourself, you're being sober, and you're just you and you and you in your head. I went crazy, you know, like, because the entire time it's either I was drinking or I was high off weed. And when you're on that kind of stuff, you're just like scrolling. You're trying to get away from life.
Distracting yourself.
You're like distracting, and you're not like that numb, like that cloudy place. You're like, you know, numbing yourself for what? You know, and then so when I was going through that, it's like, okay, now it's just me, and you can hear your voice inside of you. I was going crazy. Like, what do I do? I was already graduated. I didn't want to get a job. And so I knew I wanted to do something. And that's when I actually started talking about it. It was an idea. I'm like, okay, this could actually work. I remember speaking to my parents about it, because I've spoken to my parents about many other ideas, and they were always like, come on, like, really, you want to do that? Like the poker room. That was kind of bad idea. But
We all have
but
them.
like, yeah, I mean, it's not even a bad idea. I know people that have poker rooms and they make a lot of money off of it. You know, there's not one idea that's bad, as long as, like, if you can see it, if you can see yourself doing it. And that's the thing. If you want to do something for yourself, you have to see it, you have to think it, and then you have to, like, speak it. And that's what I did on that conference call. Is like, and I remember calling George. I found this machine for cheap. I found this. I know this. I would literally just call you so I could speak my plan out, just the way it is, man. And I never thought I'd get this far. I really thought I thought of Stripe On as a side gig, like, you know, an extra source of income for the weekends, because that's what it was. And it just freaking blew up. It just started rolling, man. How you said the momentum. It started from an idea. You got to work on your craft, right? And I was working. It started with the logo. It started with the name. Started with the logo, and then you got to get financial stuff, the financials, and
The clients and
then the clients,
and then the work.
and then
How
the
was your
works.
first job? Like your first job ever?
It went horrible. Yeah, horrible. Glad you brought up my first job. I truly, because I don't think you probably don't know how it went.
No, I don't know.
So-
This is pure right here.
Okay, my first job, I got my first machine. Well, actually, so I got the machine and I posted it. My uncle hit me up. He's like, "Hey man, is that a line striper?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "We're striping the Sames Auto Arena," and the guy that I hired, his machine broke down, and so we need somebody to, like, fill in, like. And so I only did like a couple lines. That wasn't my job. I did post it like it was mine, and then from there on, that landed me my first job, which was with FedEx. I used to work at FedEx, and I know the managers there, so it was pretty easy getting into it. I remember shooting my bid and then getting the call from the manager, and she was like, "Hey, I just wanted to call you and let you know that we awarded you the bid." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I was in Gardner. I was in Gardner with my parents and my girlfriend, and I was stoked and very high up there with my ego. And I got the call, and I was like, I just won the bid. You know, I'm very excited. I was a little drunk, so then I started talking crap. I was like, I'm gonna make $2,000 in one day. It's the most money I've ever made in one day. And I was talking shit. I'm like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna make $2,000 in one day, and just talking a lot of crap, dude. And I remember my parents like, "Hey, like, hold your horses. Like, don't be talking like that." I'm like, nah, whatever. Blew them off. So project day comes, and I get there, and I'm stoked, and it starts off pretty good, whatnot. As I'm doing the job, as I'm like painting the lines, I felt like I had to steer my machine off to the right for each line, right? And so I'm like, why am I having to steer my thing? If the lines are straight, then my machine should just go row straight. So then I started just going, instead of following the line, I just started going straight. So it started off with the line, and then it steered off to the left of the line, whatever. So basically I did like the whole row. I take a step back and I'm looking at the lines. I'm like, every single freaking line was crooked as hell. Like bad. A bunch of bananas. Like it just looked horrible. And I told you guys, like in this profession, you have to be like almost perfect because you will see every single mistake that you made. And so when I took a step back, I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? And sure enough, the next day, manager calls me. She's like, "What the hell did you do?" And I was hoping they didn't notice, but of course they did. And then so she's like, "Are you gonna fix this?" I'm like, "Of course I'm gonna fix it." And so I had to go back, and I went back with my brother. So what should have been a 1 day job turned into a whole week. Most of the work was me on my knees, grinding each freaking line off. And that was hell, dude. Like grinding these lines, each line, it was like 20 lines that I messed up. Each line took about like 15 minutes. So if you do the math, you could see how long I was there on my freaking knees grinding each line. But after doing all that, I was very grateful to have made that mistake. Because now I know never to do that again, to, follow the line each time if it's straight. But you learn from your mistakes. And now I know, never to be cocky, one, two, to follow the line.
That's crazy how, when you got the call, you're on high horses.
High horse.
And God's like, okay, I see you. And then the following time, he's like, all right, you're gonna be on your knees.
Yeah, man, like
on the hot concrete, you're gonna be on your knees.
Dude, no, and it was in the summer too. It was freaking hot, dude, and it was hell, dude. It was hell. Like, me and my brother too. And shout out Isaac, dude, because that guy, he's a tough one too. And no, man. And so what went from making $2,000 in 1 day went from $2,000 to like $500 and like and bad knees. So, but you know what? Like I said, that's where it brought me here today. Now I know never to make that mistake. Now I know never to be gloating about how much you're gonna make in 1 day, because that wasn't the case after all. So death of the ego, and that's when the man grows.
Yeah, 100%. Especially in business, what I've been learning is that you have to keep the mind of a humility man. Like you have to be very open and vulnerable, because God forbid, but Stripe On or Level Up Lounge podcast can be taken away in a second. Therefore, each day you are grateful for what you have currently and what you're doing.
Every day.
Every single day.
I try to wake up every day and give thanks. And I truly do. I'll catch myself driving and just talking to God and being so grateful, because man, I really am lucky. I couldn't have done anything if it wasn't for, first of all, my parents, for God, then my parents. I'm not gonna lie, like they helped me out a lot financially. They loaned me money to start that. They believed in me. They saw the vision. They saw the way how passionate I was about it. And I really am lucky, man. Like I don't have that story. I wish I did, but I don't have that story where I can't say, oh, I started everything. I did everything by myself. Nobody believed in me. Everyone doubted me. They heard my idea and they just, doubted me or whatnot. I can't say that. And I'm blessed that wasn't my case. I very am blessed. And I'm not going to be here, like a poser saying, no, I did it. I am the man behind everything. I run all the shots. I do everything, all the work. But I couldn't have done it without my parents, my girlfriend, my friends. Everybody believed in me. I didn't have one doubter. I don't know if there's doubters out there, but nobody doubted me. Everybody was behind me. And I'm just so blessed. And that's why, like, I catch myself talking to God and I'm truly grateful for the life I'm living.
I love
today.
that so much.
Yeah. I wish I did have that story where like, oh yeah, I proved all my haters wrong, but that's not my case. I'm so blessed to have the friends that I do, the support system, my parents, my friends, everybody was motivating me. Everybody was behind me. I guess maybe that has to do a lot with how far it came.
Oh, 100%.
It was just a booster. It wasn't 100%. Like people weren't holding me back or anything like that. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think there's a special thing going on with our friend group
A
and
hundred
the
percent.
community, even like Laredo. Like there is something special going on because we are close. I'm in Austin now, right? It was my birthday last year when y'all came up for Austin.
Oh yeah.
I was telling my coworkers, oh yeah, I'm getting an Airbnb with my friends. It's okay, like 4 of y'all. I was like, no, like 12 of us.
Oh, football team, man.
They're like 12. And I'm like, yeah, like 12. I have 12 guys that I can call whenever I want. You guys are there for me for every single part of my life. You know, a motivator to keep me disciplined, to keep me going, to be an ear, to be a friend, to listen to what I have to say, vulnerable moments. We are blessed to have the support system we do. Therefore, we are using that support system to reach for the stars.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing ever. My parents, my family, gosh, I love my family so much. My family, my friends, and I always pray to God the same thing. Like, thank you so much for putting these people in my life. The thing about God is that He puts everyone in your life for a reason. You have your parents there for a reason. Same thing here. We're friends for a reason.
Yeah. There's something special about our friend group. It's truly amazing, crazy how we are to each other. You know,
I see it as iron sharpens iron. We are all chasing something.
all of us.
We're trying to do something. We're trying to get ourselves in those difficult situations and be someone, right? We're not competing against each other, though.
No.
We're supporting each other. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, and I'll be your best friend rooting for you over here. And that's a thing. I love that. I love that so much.
And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. That's the way I viewed it, kind of like a competition. Because I was very, like, I had that, like how you said, the heart of the line. I wanted to be the best. I'm very competitive, which is what you need in this life to be ahead. But I was doing it against the wrong people. Like, I wanted to be better than you, or wanted to be, which is okay. But I thought of it more like, of like a greedy kind of thing. I wanted to show or wanted to be the richest one, or whatever. And it shouldn't be like that. You have to use, like, we got to use each other to our advantage in the right way is what I'm trying to say.
100%. That's something that I dealt with as well. Like, I'm a very competitive guy too.
Yeah.
I'm super
And
competitive.
that's what happens when you have two freaking competitive guys. But that's what makes the most successful, I think. If you have two people that are just competing.
It's great to be a competitor and, put yourself into competing with others. But at the same time, you have to realize you're only competing against yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest switch for me is, yes, I want to be the best. I want to be ahead. But the only true person I need to be is the person I was yesterday. So I was like, okay, the battle is not out here. Because honestly, if you're just looking out here, that's ego. Like, I want to be better than you. And for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
You're not even gonna have that. You're not in the same industry. You're not in the same business. You don't have the same life, like
Yeah.
completely. So then you kind of put the mirror in front of you, like, okay, now let's focus on you and focus how we can get better every single day to strive to be the person that God made you to be. And I think that idea excites me so much, and that's a big reason why I'm so driven and hardworking. I say that humbly, because I just want to find out who I'm supposed to be. How far can I go?
Yeah.
What impact can I make? And I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna
No,
stop.
you shouldn't, man. I really wish the best for you, especially this kind of stuff that you're doing with social media, podcasting. That's a hard thing to get into. Very difficult. I would probably say it's harder than what I do, because mine is just like service. That's what people need. But this is like you have to. You gotta hit it. You gotta hit and make it. What you're doing is is harder than what I am. Trying to make it.
I don't think I can be on my knees for like 2 hours.
Well, yeah, exactly, and like
And that's a
everybody's
different-
different,
yes,
and that's the
exactly.
beautiful thing is that my heart is you're like different from each other. We're different, and it's beautiful. But like I was saying, I couldn't do what you're doing.
And I can
Like-
do what you do.
Yeah, so, like I'm not meant to be in front of the camera. When I'm making my content, I do like 10 takes for putting my voice on my video. I'm not even showing my face.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's hard
It
being in
is.
front of a camera, and especially with everybody's, as much as you say like how Carlo was saying about you'll die by
By the criticism.
by the criticism. I mean,
You
but
live for the
that's-
world, you die by the criticism.
Yeah, but you're still gonna hear the criticism. We try our best to block it out,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still gonna hear it, and it's still gonna affect you. You know, as much as you don't want it to be.
About criticism, basically. I think that's helped me a lot. Is just, I think at this point in my life, if you would have asked me like 2 years ago, then I living for the world, right? I wanted to grow that social status. But now all my validation comes from God and Jesus. Like I don't care about anyone else and who they think I am. All I care is what He thinks about me.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate judge, you know, and He will judge you. And that's why I try my best to put myself in the image of Jesus and trying to see His perspective with everything. And that's what Level Up Lounge podcast is. It's trying to spread that positivity, because that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to spread the positivity through lessons and experience for people to run through the hardships and level up.
Yeah.
Right. And criticism is just part of the game. It's just part of the
It
game.
is part of the game. I think that's a very cool job of yours. You probably don't consider it as a job. Like you
I love this. I love this
and you
so
have
much.
to love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, because if you don't love what you do, like your thing's gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
If you're chasing money, if you're chasing fame, or if you don't love what you do, you're never gonna make it. You're not gonna be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I so happen to love. I think I started Stripe on because I wanted to make money. That was my whole thing. I ended up loving Stripe on while doing it. I didn't think I'd be so into it, and I love almost every aspect of it. And I think your job here, this podcasting, is like a freaking badass job. You're getting paid to spread positivity, spreading the word of God, spreading, knowledge. Like that's beautiful,
Thank
right?
you.
Like
I love it.
just talking. It's so beautiful whenever you start getting the reviews or like people hitting you back
that's
up.
the best
It's
thing
the
ever.
best thing ever. It's when you're doing something that you love and then people, reach back on and they tell you how good of a job you're doing for something that you love. It's the best freaking thing ever in the world.
It's the most rewarding feeling ever. And
I've had guys it's crazy. It kind of feels like I'm like an influencer or something. Like I've had guys like tell me straight up to my face like, "Oh man, that's so awesome what you're doing. I love what you're doing and all this stuff." Like, it's like I never thought I'd get that. And it's beautiful.
it's important to lead by example and be like a great person by doing good things, right? Because now, like as you grow your personal brand, people are going to see you in a sense of way. Therefore, be a great example for the younger generation, for the people who are just trying to come up or trying to do the things that you want to do. I know it for a fact, especially in Laredo, there's hard workers like you there.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hard workers, a lot of talent. So I appreciate you coming to the podcast and sharing your story and being very raw too. Being very raw, because that's all we want here in the Level Up Lounge podcast.
I mean, that's how I am as a person. Like I don't have a filter, and sometimes it could be a bad thing. But I keep everything 100. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. But yeah, like how you said, for the younger generation, I had, some guys asking me questions and congratulating me, and it's truly the best feeling ever. It really is.
You got to keep being that impact in the community in your own way.
And I didn't even know it'd be like that. I was just doing this for myself. And then along the way, I just had these young cats like seeing me as like an inspiration. I'm like, what? Like I never thought I'd never thought I'd be like that. And dude, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
And just to be given the opportunity to first do what you do, and then also to lead the people that are like looking after you or supporting you. Gosh, like my Level Up Lounge listeners, I am so happy to have you guys. You guys, every single one of you, like not even like I care about every single one of y'all's opinion, just so I can make this podcast even better, to bring more value to you and then to whoever else listens. And I really hope you guys listen to this podcast and apply it to your life, because that's the whole point of this podcast, is to take what you're hearing right now with Jerry's story, my story with Carlos and my future guests, and then apply it into your life. Take action. That's how Jerry's idea of Stripe On, from an idea that he had over dinner, turned into 9 months later 5-figure business, because he took action. And the only way you would make your dreams become reality And we're not even done yet. Like, that's the thing. We're not
just
done
getting
yet.
started.
We are definitely just getting started.
Yeah.
But all it is taking that consistent steps of action and moving the needle, moving the needle, moving the needle. And eventually you're going to hit it, because in this world, we can truly get whatever we want. If you put hard work behind it, persistence, put some love in there
Consistency.
too. Put some love in there for the process, because the
100%.
process is everything.
Yeah, you gotta have love, consistency, and hard work. I think
And
that's,
patience. Patience
that's-
for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's the formula to getting what you want, to successfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Love, consistency, dedication, and hard work, and patience too.
And with God leading that ship, though.
100%.
God is the one that's the reason why we're both here, the reason why we know each other. The reason why this podcast even came about. Like, it's crazy. Like, this blows my mind, but it did start with the same thing as you.
Seeing all this is crazy, man. I never thought I'd see this. I never thought I'd be here sitting talking into a mic, into a camera. Like, this is truly amazing. And like I said, like, this thing, like, this is hard work, man, because you have to hit. But I know that you're gonna make it, because I know the type of, because you're a hardworking man yourself too, and I know you're not gonna stop.
Yeah,
And
I
you don't.
appreciate it.
I take criticism a little bit more. I take it in more than you do. I feel like you look the other way. You don't really care for people's opinions, and I'm on that path too. Like, I'm
That's
trying
growth.
to stay away from. Yeah, it's a growing thing. I try to stay away from like people's opinions, and because at the end of the day, like, it's you, and nobody else knows you like how you know
Exactly.
yourself, right? And I know you, man, and I believe in the Level Up Lounge.
I love that. Thank you so much for saying that.
No, 100%.
Here's the thing, especially with social media and growing a brand in general, it takes long. And then people, I've been recommended to post like, oh, do what everyone else is doing, but I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. Like, I'm so committed to God's plan and His will that I don't care if I go the long way,
Yeah.
because that's honestly God's way of working. You're not gonna reach God's ideal plan for you on the fast track. The fast track is the enemy.
Yeah.
All the shiny objects. J. Cole, he said in one of his songs, you made it this far, but you went the wrong way. You heard on Love Yours and J. Cole. What he's saying is, like, you made it this far, but you realize, like, oh, you missed all the important things you're supposed to learn along the way, which is, like, your people, you're being grateful, the process, the growth and development you become along that journey. So I had to come to acceptance of myself that the long way is the fastest way to, I'm using God's success. Because there's success, right? Materialistic success, but I want God's success. I want Him.
Yeah.
And his, I mean, if God's behind you, who can be against you?
Yeah.
The creator
That's a
of the
good one.
world, who can be against you? That's the type of confidence I walk around every single day. And with this podcast, and I'm not afraid of no man. I'm afraid of my God.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I roll. And that's kind of the way that I'm carrying myself with this podcast. And I've just devoted my life to Him. So I am so confident in just being myself.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen, brother. I wouldn't find joy if it wasn't for all the hard work. Kind of, if I were to put it into like a perspective, it's like going out, having a drink or whatnot. Much rather have a drink after, a long days of work than just having a
like
drink.
you
know what I
earn
mean?
it.
Yeah, you gotta earn it, exactly. You gotta find out what the value of $1 is. You gotta find out what it's like to like be under a truck and
Yeah, be underwater, half submerged.
exactly, And I look back and now like we're laughing about it, like you have to go through that, and you can't be scared of it. You just gotta do it. And like, what else are you gonna be doing?
We need to do hard things to recognize the fruits of life. When you have a sense of enjoyment after weeks worth of hard work, it just tastes so much better. And you
Exactly.
feel so much like, wow, like I'm proud of myself. This is my reward. I know I'm gonna get back to it next week, but this right now, I'm enjoying my moment.
Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing about when you're chasing your journey and you're developing yourself, you will find a reward system. And I highly encourage you guys, you need a reward system because it's gonna be a long journey.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own versions of rewards, but you need to give yourself those check marks. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we did this, boom. Let's go celebrate. Let's go have some dinner. Even for the little wins,
Yeah.
Go out there and celebrate it.
100%. Whenever I was trying to do the sobriety thing, if you guys are listening and you find motivation from this and want to do something, the key thing, if you take one thing, the key thing is don't try to do everything at once and all in one go. You know, like
Yeah.
you're just gonna, you're setting up yourself for failure.
Too much
at
to
that
eat.
point. Yeah, like for me, when I was in one of my darkest times, you know, I was like, I need change. Okay, so we're gonna do change. So we're gonna go, no drinking, no smoking, no drugs, work out every day, eat right. You have the right idea, but your plan is not the right plan. You have to like start off small. Do one thing, accomplish it, master it, and then move on to the next. Don't try to do everything all at once because you're just gonna kill yourself.
Like that saying, a master of all trades is a master at none. A jack of all trades is a master at none. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, you wear so many hats, but you can't put on one hat and be the master at that.
Yeah, and I've tried doing that. Like
Me
that-
too.
I've tried doing that, and it's virtually impossible. It's so hard, you know. Like,
Yeah,
but you gotta start off slow and build,
I love that.
and then reward yourself. You know, just a little bit in moderation. In moderation, that was a big thing for me, is moderation, because when I wanted to reward myself, I wanted to go all out, which is not the ideal thing to do.
Yeah, I love that. And so we're gonna start wrapping up the podcast. Before I ask the last question for you, I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast, Jerry, and just sharing your story and being
Thank you
so
for having me.
vulnerable too. Very vulnerable, wearing your heart on your sleeve, and just telling your story, because that's the whole point of this podcast. And I think you did a great job. So thank you so much for being
Thank you. It
here.
was my first time.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was honestly, this is like super cool. I can't wait to come for the next invitation.
Yes, sir, and that will come along. So let me whip out this question for you. So the last question to end off the episode: what or who is your biggest motivator?
My dad. 100% my dad. My mom too. Both my parents, but my dad mainly. My dad was one of those kids that were, like, growing up, he was set up for failure, you know. My parents had me at a very young age. Statistically, they weren't supposed to make it, and boy, did they make it. I mean, they made me, and I'm here right now because of them. And so, yeah, like they are my biggest influencer, motivators, and everything to me. If it wasn't for them, and like I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for my father. Because if you guys think I have a really strong work ethic, you should see how my dad is. That guy can work for like 60 hours without like eating. But he's like a very hard working, and that guy, he is able to say that he created a little empire from nothing, from scratch. He was a mechanic making, I don't know, $10 an hour or less. And now he has, a big old business. And he's able to say, like, he had doubters. He had people, he had everything against him, and he's made it this far. And so I look at that, and it's like the way I like to do it, and you shouldn't compare, but I do. I compare, and I want to be better than he is.
And that's what every parent wants.
Because he made it this far out of nothing. So like, and if I have a head start. So like, if I don't surpass that, then I just think of myself as like, you didn't do the thing, So yeah, for sure. My parents are my biggest motivators. Also my mom, shout out my mom. She's a hardworking woman too. She gets up early, stays up late too with the kids, and does all the other stuff. And both of them are a beautiful team.
I love that.
Yes, sir.
Love that so much. Love that answer, and definitely shout out to the parents. They put us on that platform so we can reach the stars.
Yeah, and we're here now.
And we're here now. We're not there yet, but we're gonna get there.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna get there.
Man.
All right, Jerry. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast one more time. I appreciate you and your time, and just your story, dude, and just being you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm proud of you, and let's keep it rolling, bro. Let's
Yes,
keep it
sir.
rolling. Job's not finished.
Job's not finished, baby.
Job's not finished.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So that's it for the Level Up Lounge podcast. I think it's episode 24. And as we end off every episode, find a way to make someone's day better, spread positivity, and always wear your heart on your sleeve. With that being said, I'll see y'all later. God bless.
A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but that